I'd like to talk to you about internal versus external processing. There are two different types of people and two different ways that people are actually processing information, and this may be happening in your relationship. Internal processors versus external processors. So an internal processor is somebody who takes in the information, it goes in their head, kind of like a computer, beep, boop, 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 beep, and then suddenly they finally process that information and then they can talk to you. External processors are completely different. They take the information in and they use people outside of them to start processing information. So for example, they may be dealing with a problem and they'll go to their mom and they'll talk to them and start processing that information and putting it into their computer, but their computer is almost like an external processor, right? Or they'll talk to their sister, they'll talk to their friend. And so sometimes you have two different kinds of people in the same relationship. So what'll happen is the external processor tries to talk to the internal processor and says all these things like, I think we need to talk about our finances, I think we need to figure out a better way to do our chores, and we also need to talk about parenting. And so here's what happens for the internal processor. All of that information is going through the circuits, but then it has to still process. So what this person will do is either shut down or not be able to talk right away because they just won't have the opinion yet. There's nothing wrong with either type of processor. However, if you're an external processor who's married to an internal processor, then you're likely not getting a lot of information, or you're not getting to the end result as quick as you probably want, because as an external processor, you make your decisions as you talk to people. And so one of the strategies for working with internal and external processors married or in a relationship long term is to set meetings. So what you essentially do is you bring up the topic, those three if you have them or others, and then you set a time for later in the day to talk. That gives your internal processor a chance to think about what their opinion is about those things, to offer their own ideas on each point. And then by the time you have a conversation, they're prepared to talk and give you a better version of what's good for them. And actually, you may need to have several different conversations across time before you get to really good, solid resolutions. So my big point on this is just don't be in the position of judging each other for being one, an external processor, or two, an internal processor. Just find better ways to work as a team.